Welcome to the lunation situation. We are going to talk about the upcoming full moon in Sagittarius at 13 degrees. So look up where that falls in your own chart to see at least which house it is, which you can see through the inner cycle of inner circle of your birth chart. So it happens on June 4th. And this is a pretty important full moon because it actually closes out a storyline that has started December 4th, which is also the 4th, 2021, which means that this full moon, June 4th, actually closes out a 1.5 year of a storyline. So if you do moon journaling or anything like that, or journaling at all, you can look at what happened December 4th of 2021, because this last 1.5 year period has been tremendous about manifesting more of a true life, more of a authentic way of living, and more seeking that which uplifts you. And so you can see for yourself what story is closing out, or at least what you're celebrating. Because this is a full moon, it is about closing out a story. This is where something comes to full circle, where something is completed, something is ending. And because of that, it could be a great time for harvest, for actually reaping the fruits of your labor, right? So what are you celebrating? What are you harvesting also during this full moon? Now, since this full moon happens in the sign of Sagittarius, we look at those topics, right? Sagittarius is a very inspiring energy. It's very energetic. It's optimistic. It's, it has humor to it, okay? So, since it's ruled by Jupiter, it's very much about expansion, exploration. It's about that which lifts you up, that which inspires you. So it's very much about discovering, exploration, travel, expanding your horizon, and gaining different perspectives because of all that. It's like the ultimate journey, right? But it's in a way where you wander around and just go with the flow and do things that you just try things out. You do the unusual, and because of that, you learn a lot of stuff about yourself, about the world, because ultimately Sagittarius is very much about the meaning of life. So it's about philosophy, it's about learning, education, it's about self-development. So whatever you learn, whatever inspires you, you turn it around, and you actually, with Sagittarius energy, want to inspire other people. You want to, teach them what you have learned yourself. So there is a great sharing element to whatever you have learned in these Sagittarius themes. So there's also a great element of freedom about Sagittarius. It's that ultimate gypsy energy that just, wants to float around and change things up. And it just has a very free spirit. It has a very great love for freedom. It's not easily tied down, right? It's like, it's the opposite of Gemini. So it's like wandering around, doing many different things. It's just that it goes a little bit further than Gemini, and it wants to learn more, broader, more slightly more serious, I would say, about the information taking than Gemini, because there's a great element of spirituality about Sagittarius. It was ruled by Jupiter, which is about faith and belief as well. So this could be about religion, or at least definitely about what you believe in and what your faith, what your relationship to the spirit realm or your own spirit is. Okay. This is extra significant because 13 degrees of Sagittarius is practically conjunct the Great Attractor in the cosmos. Now, the Great Attractor is this weird anomaly. They don't exactly know what it is, but it seems to be functioning as a major magnetic force. And as the name says, Great Attractor, it's all about what you are trying to attract in, right? So these last 1 year and 7 months exact, we have been attracting certain things into our lives in the Sagittarius themes. And if you were very aware of it, you can look at, again, the December 4th new moon in Sagittarius, 2021, and see what have you been attracting into your life. How has this been upgrading your understanding of the world, of the meaning of life? How are you more free, or at least wanting to be free? How are you inspiring yourself, and how are you sharing that inspiration, that enthusiasm with others? There's a big thing going on here. And so yeah, with this full moon conjunct the Great Attractor in the cosmos, you could really reap the fruits of that 1.5 year process of trying to attract deep beliefs that you have. And as I said, if you have been consciously working with that new moon back then you can really see is there anything tangible, what happened. Overall, you could always look back at your life these last 1.5 years, and how has your belief expanded? How has your faith evolved so that you are able to find, do, and be that which uplifts you? Okay, so it's like there's a great evolvement going on here. There's a great expansion of the inner life. And I think with this full moon, there is a great expansion of the outer life, right? So these last 1.5 years to me seems like you have been working on your internal faith, on your internal belief systems, and really have been learning and educating yourself on how to gain a different perspective, and really pondering that question of what is the meaning of life for you, and to, learn, teach, connect, and at least explore these themes, so that now that you know what you believe in, now that you know what you believe that you want in this life, now you can see that happening, because that believing is a great big ingredient of manifestation. And you cannot fake energy, right? Energy never lies, so you cannot force it, control it. Only when you truly believe that it is your birthright, that is truth, and that you have full faith that your belief is going to get you there, then it's going to happen. And I think that it's so interesting and fascinating how this is a full moon in Sagittarius happening conjunct the Great Attractor, and how this is closing off a 1.5 year cycle. And I really feel that if you've done that inner work, this could be the true time that you will see the fruits of that labor, that you will see it now happening, occurring in your life. Or at least if it's not going to happen immediately, I do feel that the upliftment, the optimism has been returned back into your life. And it's from there you can really build these expansive Sagittarius ideas that you've gained. So if we look at the chart of June 4th, we see a very busy chart. So there are lines going everywhere. And that just means that there are a lot of energies going on, that it feels very busy and like a lot of stuff that you have to deal with or help, some kind of a bustling, jolly energy. Although not all of it is jolly. I'll go into that. Basically, the moon in Sagittarius is making two really lovely aspects, and then it's trining Mars, first of all, at 8 degrees of Leo. And this is nice. This is bringing, a lot of energy into our vitality, our body, and our desire to go after our goals. There is like, our heart is in it. We're very motivated. And I think this is a really lovely thing because we've been through a very pressureful time with a grand fixed cross that is actually still occurring during this full moon. But a little bit about that later. The moon is also trining Chiron in Aries. This to me is the testimony that these last 1.5 years you have been working very hard on your inner beliefs about expanding yourself, about uplifting yourself, and whatever blocks and hurdles were on that path, you've been trying to clean it up. Chiron is our deep wounds that we are required to heal from. And once we do, we become the sage. We become the teacher to teach others of what we have learned on this healing journey. And that is so Sagittarius. I mean, Chiron is in the constellation of Sagittarius anyway. He's a centaur, so it's very much related symbolically as well, or like literally. So Sagittarius moon trining the Chiron in Aries is giving us a great healing of our identity, of our will to pursue our goals again, about self-prioritization. So this is a testimony and a clear green sign signal of now you can go forward. Now you have healed something really deeply about yourself. And now you're able to love yourself in a more profound way. So that's really nice. The moon in Sagittarius is also squaring Saturn. Actually, this is a T-square because it's a full moon. So the sun is squaring Saturn too. This means that this lunation is getting a little bit of a tough punch from Saturn. And Saturn is saying focus, which is really hard for Gemini and Sagittarius. He's like, Saturn is the teacher, so he's like, hey man, eye on the prize, not there. Focus. Focus preferably on one thing, and, you know, take it seriously. Take your responsibility, and really, like, Saturn is in Pisces, so this is about the spiritual life. This is about, you know, intuition and emotional maturity. So this is taking responsibility about your emotional world. Especially with the square to this moon in Sagittarius, that's about faith and belief, as well, as I explained to you. I would say that Saturn is like, yeah, this is where we're at, and this is what I want you to take serious. So the belief element, the faith element, I wanted you to take that seriously. I want you to devote yourself to that and to expand on it with maturity, with responsibility, with, you know, having a strong spiritual practice, truly evolving your intuitive skills. For that, you need to be on your own sometimes. You need to be quiet and tap into your own inner source. And, you know, don't be so distracted, but think about what you have accomplished, because this is a full moon. This is about something coming to an end, right? So what have you accomplished that is beyond the physical? Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, so this is about beyond what we see. And has your faith been tested? Are you strong within your own spiritual connection? Like, are you tapping into the divine source so that it doesn't always feel so hard, that you are aware that you're protected and guided? You know, Saturn can help with that. I guess this tension to Saturn, as I said, is a focus to the spirituality and to the emotional responsibility, okay? So Saturn is saying, don't, like, keep your emotions and energy in bound. Get it focused. Like, grow up. That's what Saturn is saying. Grow up emotionally, grow up spiritually. And the time is now. To release this tension from this lunation to Saturn, we look at Virgo themes. So take care of your body and mind. Rest. You can use cleaning, and like reorganizing your house or your stuff. That will really provide the peace and the sometimes emotional process that we still have to go through. Other than that, oddly enough, this lunation is right in the middle, so it cuts through the grand fixed cross that has been going on definitely since May 16th. So by the time of this lunation, it is more than 2 weeks. So it's like almost 3 weeks. We're 2 to 3 weeks into this grand fixed cross that started definitely with Jupiter entering Taurus and then Mars entering Leo. It got more and more intense because it was opposite Pluto. Now, during this lunation of Sagittarius, Mars is leaving the grand fixed cross, but Venus is entering. So Venus here at 28 degrees of the sign of the Crab is bringing another volume of tension. The previous tension of the grand fixed cross was due to Mars. So this was about masculine energies in our lives. This was our relationship with men or our inner masculinity. And it could also have been about vitality, your health, body, and also, the goals in your life, the motivations in your life, the desires and passions and lust in your life. Something has come to an end with that. Something has received a closure with this grand fixed cross. So I guess maybe with this full moon in Sagittarius, all of at least the Mars part of the grand fixed cross is now being cleaned up. It's done. And I guess the full moon in Sagittarius here is saying it's done, but you can feel really good about it. Because actually that ending is so beneficial and it's so uplifting and it's gonna bring so much new enthusiasm into your life that let's clean up all that debris from the last 2-3 weeks of Mars being in the grand fixed cross. But it's not over yet because now Venus is in it. So what is a grand fixed cross? You can see in the chart that there is a big red cube going on, a square, right? And that means that there are 2 oppositions going on, like this, opposition. So between Pluto and Venus in this case. And then there's another opposition, and that's between the South Node and on the other side, the North Node, which is conjunct Jupiter. And Jupiter is the ruler of this Sagittarius full moon. So this grand fixed cross is highlighted because of that. So where the other grand fixed cross was very much about the masculine energies, right? Or literally men in our lives. This one is about feminine energies because of Venus and maybe the women in our lives. And Venus is also about, love, our partnerships. Venus is also about our self-esteem, our own values, what we find worthy, our self-worth, but also worth in the sense of what is valuable literally, and that means money or possessions. So, finances are coming into the equation right now. So this is potentially this grand fixed cross with Venus entering it is likely to create great instability for the financial world, for the financial systems. Because when Venus enters Leo, which is, a few days after this lunation, it opposes Pluto. And that means some kind of a death, renewal, massive change and transformation about relationships, finances, self-esteem, beauty, women, money. So since this lunation intersects that grand fixed cross, I feel it's related also because, you know, Jupiter is involved and that's the ruler of the situation, right? So I really feel that our belief, our faith is really, really important during this time. And that apparently the universe is saying that we should be optimistic, even though many things are ending and the world as we have known it will no longer be. And that is actually a good thing, that endings are good because they didn't serve. And when Pluto is involved, it's because it doesn't serve our souls and it doesn't serve our soul growth. And so it has to be gone. When Pluto is involved like this in a grand fixed cross, it's grow or die. And there's no in between. When Pluto is involved, things are very evident and clear. And because of that, there's like a transparency, right? So it's easier for us to accept because we just see the truth. It's what it is. And it may be ugly. It may not be what we wanted or expected, but it's so clear that we cannot make something else of it. We cannot fantasize or make illusions about it. It's so clear that it's done, it's ending, it's over. And yeah, as I said, that could be about relationships with Venus here. It could be about some kind of a financial thing in your life. Could be a global thing in the world with finances. Could also be like, I'm done with this crap that is bringing my self-esteem down. And whoever is affecting it or whatever is affecting that self-esteem, it's now so clear that it's easy to remove. Like, it's so easy to remove that you'll be like, how did I do that? Like, where did that strength come from? Where did that power come from to say, stop, no longer, not having it, not taking this. This is bullshit. So massive upgrades with this grand fixed cross that has been going on since at least May 16th. So yeah, this is a crossroads, literally, right? A grand fixed cross is a crossroads, is a stop and a halt. Wait, look at this. This needs to die off. This needs to change, transform. At the moment, I wasn't so aware of it, but thanks to lovely other astrologers and my own experience during this grand fixed cross, for sure, it was a moment of ending, of removal and dissolvement. And it makes all the sense because this grand fixed cross was lightened up, so made easier. It still is in this chart here during this full moon in Sagittarius. This grand fixed cross, even though it's now with Venus and not Mars as it was before, this grand tension of, you know, being pulled in all different directions and all different energies, the old, new, the ugly, the pretty, whatever, the inspiring, the not, being pulled in all these ways, is oddly being lightened up by two major planets that are in Pisces. So the opposition between Venus and Pluto is being lightened by Neptune in Pisces, which means a grand removal, like illusions being broken, cleaning it out. You know, what was your fantasy? What was your mirage? But what was the truth? Like, the confusion could be over. And it will just easily flow out of your life. There's that potentiality, but it's a sextile, so you still have to work for it a little bit. But it's so easy. And then the other opposition between the North Node and the South Node, and the North Node together with Jupiter, is lightened by Saturn. Okay, so Saturn is also in Pisces. So again, ending, removal, dissolvement. And I knew that part, but what the astrologers, especially Molly McCord, reminded me of is, the thing is, I don't necessarily believe in karma the way it's being told, okay? But from an energetic point, I understand it and therefore sort of agree with it. But, you know, it's not the standard way of karma, okay? But I do believe that there are entanglements and that there are contracts, soul contracts, right? And this energy with this grand fixed cross, and specifically also with the involvement of these Pisces planets of Saturn and Neptune, have been causing tremendous endings to these soul contracts. So this is a very high level of perspective and understanding, and it has to be, it's related to Pisces, right? Pisces is the last sign. It's transcendence, it's involvement, it's beyond this world, and understanding why certain things are occurring, and that it's all on the path for our soul growth, for our spiritual understanding and our connection to the divine, right? So all that we encounter in this world is because there is a mission to it, because there's a purpose to it. And this grand fixed cross has, I mean, it has definitely been my experience, so I'm sure it has been other people's experience as well, that things, major things, especially major things of the past, have ended, have come to a conclusion. And these soul contracts, these karmatic ties that have been binding people and places together are no longer there. So it's like someone cuts a cord, like somebody cuts an energetic rope that connects two people or two places or two things, and it's like, chick, no more connection. And yeah, that's pretty major. And we all knew that when we saw this grand fixed cross, that's gonna be something really big, especially because it takes so long. Like, it could have been just a few days, but it's just weeks. It's not just Mars causing it for 2-3 weeks, but then it's also Venus, you know, entering and prolonging this tension, bringing different elements into it, but still, you know. So I think that a lot of, especially romantic, so intimate connections have met separation, and this ending is beneficial. And this Sagittarius lunation is reminding us that it's time to uplift yourself. It's time to see what good this is bringing you, and how, you know, this ending is so positive, and how it just means that so many greater, beautiful, loving, more abundant things are coming your way. And that is why, you know, Spirit is cleaning that up and helping you where maybe in many years you were not able to get over things, or some things were maybe holding you back. And this has just been such a clean up energy. Taking away all the rotten stuff and taking away all the energetic ties and also the energetic debris that we were not unknowingly were there, you know, unconsciously there were ties holding us back. And I feel that this grand fixed cross that brings up crisis, because it's in the fixed signs, has really helped us to move through this for once and for all. Like, it's done. He's a donor, you know? And so now we can look from a different perspective with this full moon in Sagittarius. We can be enthusiastic again, optimistic again. We can lift ourselves up again. We can have faith and belief that, you know, we are moving into the direction that we want and that is better for our lives, for our souls. So I'm going to slightly take you a little bit back to the new moon, December 4th of 2021, which occurred at 12 degrees of Sagittarius. And now we have a full moon at 13 degrees of Sagittarius, right? So we moved 1 degree in 1.5 years in the sense of evolvement. And both these lunations, the new moon and the full moon, have been conjunct the Great Attractor. So it was all about manifestation, all about attracting things into your life. On December 4th, now this is so fascinating, it was sextiling Saturn in Aquarius, the lunation, back then. And that meant that our hopes and dreams, our ideas, were more easily manifested, attracted in, right, into the real world because it was Saturn. And now Saturn is evolved again in this June 4th full moon, closing out that 1.5 year cycle. And now it is squaring the moon, though. No more sextile, which is nice, right? Now it's squaring. Why is that? Not that it's negative, because squares are misunderstood, I feel. It's more that there is a great need of attention and focus on that squaring element. That means that Saturn here is now saying, all good and well. We have been working 1.5 years on our hopes and dreams and our ideas to, you know, manifest them in this reality. That's great. And now Saturn is saying, I want you to level up and do this spiritually. I want you to level up and do this energetically, emotionally. So energy is emotion, right? Emotion is energy in motion. So I want you to do this energetically. I want you to now do this spiritually. I want you to bring it up to where you have faith and trust and surrender, as well as a deep divine connection, a spiritual practice is saying, Saturn is saying that. And interestingly, in both these situations, the new moon back then and the full moon right now in Sagittarius, were both trining Chiron in both lunations. So we have been getting so much spiritual help and so much healing deep wounds and learning about them, understanding them, and you know, finding the meaning of what you've been through and how it affects your self-esteem, how it affects your identity, how the wounds have, kept you from living the life you want and from being able to put yourself first, okay? Saying like, well, this is important to me and you're gonna treat me like this and I'm not gonna have anything less than that because I now know who I am and what I am worthy of, right? So this journey of these two Sagittarius lunations have been really helping the Chiron in Aries. So I think that's very lovely, that it just would seem that with this full moon in Sagittarius that we're just reaping so many fruits, so many celebrations around now finally, yes, knowing who you are, yes, being able to say, this is who I am, and this is how you're going to treat me, and this is what I deserve, and I am important. And me first. Because if it's not me first, I cannot love you second, right? It's me first. Loving yourself, knowing who you are, that's the beginning of it all. And if that's lacking, you cannot do those other things that you want, like having that loving relationship and having a financial abundant life. You need to know who you are and why that is worthy, why you deserve great things, because you know who you are, you know what you deliver, and you matter, you're important first, okay? So that has been going on, and it's interesting how there's a relationship with these 1.5 years, and that just means that we have been working on these topics and that now we have come really far and that we can see that now, like, wow, yes, now I know. Now I really do feel healed because I see changes in my behavior, right? So last but not least, 2 things that I want to point out that is also going on within this chart, which means going on within the energies. Jupiter, the ruler of this lunation, is conjunct the North Node. Now that's a pretty major thing. So astrologers look at the true node and usually share the date of that event. So I believe for America, it's June 1st, where the North Node and Jupiter meets. For Europe, it's Friday the 2nd, so meaning 2-3 days before this lunation, that the North Node is meeting with Jupiter. But I look at the mean node as well. This is a bit technical, but so the mean node met with the Jupiter May 27th. So I see it like this. There are 2 different ways of calculating the nodes, and one is like literal and one is like the difference between 2 variations, whatever. As I said, technical and mathematical mostly. So how I see it is it's a period of time, okay? So both are significant. The mean node just begins. So to me, May 27th, and I have felt it myself, was significant because Jupiter and the North Node met. And it lasts at least till June 2nd. So that's almost a week of the North Node meeting with Jupiter. Now, what is this? The North Node is our path of evolvement. It's our soul's purpose. It's what we are now here to do. And the North Node has been in Taurus for also approximately 1.5 years. I cannot help but see a correlation between the new moon in Sagittarius that was 1.5 years ago and now this full moon, right? And then also kind of the correlation between the North Node entering Taurus and then soon leaving Taurus. So that there's an odd connection here. So anyway, the North Node in Taurus has helped to evolve everyone on the natural path. So more simplicity into your life, more organic material into your life, understanding the value of nature, of natural, of organic, of the true essential needs in your life. So understanding food, understanding that, you know, we need to appreciate nature, we need to learn how to work with nature, we need to know how to grow our own stuff and be more self-reliant, just having a greater understanding of our environment and working with that. You know, Taurus is the builder, so it's about learning how to be more, you know, standing on your own feet, relying on yourself, doing it yourself, working hard to accomplish your goals, but to do that in a way that you also think about what is feeling good, what gives you pleasure, and incorporate that into your life. So actually the North Node simplistically in Taurus has learned us about values, what is valuable and what is worthy, and connecting that to your personal needs, and the personal needs are connected to the pleasure and feeling good element, right? So we have been learning this, and Jupiter now conjunct the North Node is expanding that. So it could be a very fated moment, it could be an uplifting moment, and you know, a very optimistic moment in time that is helping us to connect closer to that Taurus North Node. So you know, maybe this will bring you fortune financially, maybe this could bring you fortune in a romantic relationship, maybe this can bring you fortune in you know, your self-worth, knowing who you are. It's just a very it's a nice energetic highlight, and you could work with it. You could use this for manifestation, just like you know, the conjunction with this lunation to the Great Attractor is one of those things that is also where you could manifest, although this is a full moon, so I would say it's more about manifesting a release, like this is gone and all that energy I release, which, you know, releasing is a great another aspect of manifestation. So but the Jupiter North Node is more about the now and what's coming. So whereas the full moon is about, you know, the gones be bygone, the North Node Jupiter element is a little nice spark of energy where you could work with, like, yeah, you know, how to expand that juicy, pleasureful, feeling good, feeling comfortable, feeling loved up kind of element in your life of that Taurus energy, right? So that's nice, the Jupiter North Node conjunction, which is kind of still occurring with 1 degree orb during this lunation. But the last thing I want to mention is that I find really interesting is that Mercury and Uranus are conjunct in Taurus, and they're kind of not related to anything in the chart. Even though this is a super busy chart, there are no lines, so it's not it's unaspected, as I say. So it's a bit of a wild energy. It's there, it has no connection to the rest, and it can feel a little bit disruptive because of that, I feel. So Mercury is the lower mind and Uranus is the higher mind. So here there's something really explosive going on in our minds. And interestingly, you know, Mercury is now out of Mercury post shadow phase. So it's fully in power. It's getting these upgrades from Uranus, these electrical influences that is like expanding our thoughts, our mind, and it's like great cosmic downloads of information and ideas. So the things that come up in your mind, the things that you're thinking about during this lunation are profound, and you should write it down or track it in some way so that yeah, it's not bullshit. It's like really important, whatever's coming up for you in your mind and thoughts and ideas. Because of this conjunction. And interestingly, it also kind of is the beginning of Uranus entering a new territory, right? So it's the third decan now, which means that it goes above 20 degrees of Taurus. It's not going to go back. And third decan of Taurus for Uranus is interesting because it now means there is a level of mastery going on. So Uranus has been also simultaneously been shaking up these Taurus energies. So it's been shaking up our natural world and our resources, our finances, our food supply, right? So, and definitely the way of living naturally, the natural life has been going through some major changes. Uranus is about change. It's often occurs through breakdowns so that you get breakthroughs. And you know, it can happen really sudden with Uranus. There's just, it's the ultimate goal is awakening and understanding. Kind of similar to Sagittarius in a way. It's about expanding your perspectives. So it just means that Uranus here now is helping us apply the things that we have learned. So now we are in the phase of breaking through. Like the breakdowns have hopefully taught us something, so that now we are awakening, breaking through, and realizing how important nature is, how important it is to learn these skills that, you know, will help us survive, because you do not want to be reliant on other people and things all the time. You want to be sustainable. You want to be self-reliant, right? So we have to learn how to survive, and we have to be able to meet our basic needs. Yeah. And it's also about learning the importance of sensuality, of feeling good, of you know, of comfort, and of safety. These are important things as well. So Uranus in the last decan of Taurus is helping us master these Taurus themes, which is going to be really important the coming 2 years. So that was that for the full moon in Sagittarius. This is a nice moment in time to look back at what you have accomplished and what you're ready to let go of your life for once and for all, and to really have a strong belief in things that you want to attract and create into your life. And pairing that up with faith is the magic to manifestation, right? So happy full moon in Sagittarius. We're going to have a new moon in Gemini 2 weeks later, and that's going to be really interesting as well. So stay tuned. Bye.